You've put in your 40 plus hours for 40 plus years and are now anticipating your long overdue retirement. You've even set aside funds diligently to make sure you can afford a comfortable lifestyle. However, there are still many things that can derail your retirement plan. So today we're going to go over the #1 biggest threat to your retirement plan and how you can best prepare. Hi there, a friendly reminder that we are not financial advisors, and although today's video will be largely concerned with the finances of healthcare in retirement, remember that it is best to work with a professional financial advisor. If you do, however, have questions about your health insurance, you can reach us in the comments below or at the number on the screen. We are licensed nationwide and there's absolutely no charge for our services. Now, we are going to be throwing a lot of numbers at you in this video. However, it is important to note that there are very limited studies done on the healthcare spending for seniors in the United States. And for those studies that there are, a lot of the information is conflicting or possibly outdated. So please bear that in mind. Also take into consideration that we're going to largely be talking in terms of averages. And averages are of course skewed by either end of the spectrum. So there are many people that have significant healthcare spending who might push those averages up significantly. We want to make sure that you have the best and most comprehensive understanding of what your healthcare spending could be. So a recent study from RBC Wealth Management indicated that a 65-year-old would have a projected healthcare cost of $404,253 for a married couple. Then again, other studies indicated these costs would be either $315,000 or $350,000. So the numbers really do vary quite a bit. And that doesn't even take into consideration long-term care, which could be as much as $100,000. We do have a video about long-term care plans, which I will put at the end of this video. Now, bearing those numbers in mind, have you budgeted for this in your retirement fund? Another scary number to throw at you, the average retirement fund for a 65-year-old is $609,000, and the average Social Security monthly payout is $1,500. So based on these facts and figures, you could easily spend over half your life savings on your healthcare expenses. So let's stop and talk about HSAs. These are great if you're not yet at retirement age. HSAs are health savings accounts. They are a type of interest-bearing account that is often available as a benefit of a high-deductible health plan or HDHP. HSAs offer the triple tax advantage. So the amounts that you contribute to your HSA is actually pre-tax, therefore lowering your taxable income. The accounts themselves are interest-bearing, and that interest is not taxed. And as long as you withdraw the funds for a qualified medical expense, there's no penalty or taxation on that either. But additionally, you can actually invest a certain portion of your HSA. And again, we've got a video on that, which I will put right up here. Basically, this is a great retirement tool because you can hold on to your HSA as the funds will roll over year. And once you reach 65, it will convert to a basic retirement account. At that point, you can certainly withdraw funds for whatever you'd like. However, there will be a taxation at that point, although not a penalty. However, you can also use those funds for qualified medical expenses, and the list is quite extensive, and then there's no taxation whatsoever. Now, I want to jump back to that figure that we talked about earlier in the video, that $404,000 or so for a married couple. So let's divide that by 2. We now get $202,000. And bearing in mind that the average life expectancy in the United States is 76, we get 11 years post-retirement age of 65 to spend that $202,000. That breaks down to about $18,000 per year in medical spending. Now, I've got to be honest, that seems like a lot. But again, these studies are talking in terms of averages and taking into consideration those much higher medical spendings as well. So let's divide it by 2, just so that we can compare apples to apples when looking at cost comparison. So now let's talk about $9,000 in yearly medical spending. Basically, this is looking at the 3 main factors of medical spending: premiums, copays, coinsurance, and deductibles for your medical expenses, and prescription drug costs. So do you think with the right procedures and plans in place that we can beat $9,000 per year in medical spending? I want to start with prescription drug costs, and please don't be discouraged because this was the hardest thing to research in this video. Prescription drugs are covered by Part D with Medicare, and there were very limited studies available on prescription drug spending in retirement. And I think that's because it really is such a very wide range, and we're going to go over that in just a minute. But the studies I did find indicated that regardless of whether you had Part D or private insurance or no insurance, that the median prescription drug spending seemed to top out somewhere around $350. However, those in the 95th percentile could reach $1,600. So as you can see, very big range. Now granted, that study was from 2018, and things have only gotten more expensive since then, so let's round up to $400 for the average Joe. In 2024, the base beneficiary premium for Part D was $34.70. We will multiply that by 12 and we get about $416. Add that to the $400 we estimated for our prescription drug spending and you have about $800. Now, even though those are the average spendings for prescription drug costs, some people, of course, do spend significantly more. Luckily, there have been some big changes to the catastrophic coverage phase portion of Part D recently. So it used to be that the catastrophic coverage phase was just a major reduction in prescription drug spending down to 5% of the cost. But now if you do reach the catastrophic coverage phase, which would be $8,000, then you would pay nothing for your covered Part D drugs for the rest of the calendar year. And that may not sound like it's of extreme help, but trust me, to the people that have thousands of dollars of bills and prescription drugs monthly, this is a major win. That being said, there's still room for improvement. You could be one of those people who takes very limited prescription drugs, for example, things just to manage blood pressure or high cholesterol that could be just a couple of dollars per month or even free. Or you could be someone who has to take a Tier 5 specialty medication, which can be extremely expensive and push you into that catastrophic coverage phase. Now, even though Part D is far from perfect, in our estimation, it is still worth having, even if it's just one of those bare bones, more meager plans, because it does offer that catastrophic coverage phase, which can save you a significant amount if you do need to take one of those Tier 5 medications. Anyway, let's subtract $800 from that new $9,000 figure. We're left with $8,200. While we're at it, we're going to subtract our Part B monthly premiums, because whether you go with Medigap or Medicare Advantage, you still have to pay for Part B. And in 2024, the Part B base beneficiary premium is $174.70 per month. Multiply that by 12, you get $2,100. So let's subtract that. We now have $8,200 minus $2,100 equals $6,100. And for good measure, we'll knock off that Part B deductible because that's not covered by any Medigap plans. It's $240, and that brings your final number to $5,860. So now when we compare coinsurance and co-pays and everything with Medicare supplement plans and Medicare Advantage plans, that's the number to beat. So let's start with Medigap. Medigap plans are also known as Medicare supplement plans, and they basically fill in those financial gaps of original Medicare. So by spending an additional monthly amount on a monthly premium, you can have those possible co-pays, co-insurance, and deductibles either largely taken care of or taken care of entirely, so there is no additional out-of-pocket spending necessary, depending upon which plan you choose. And there are 10 different plans available with varying levels of coverage and varying price points. These are the 10 different plans available: Plan A, B, C, D, F, G, K, L, M, and N. For the purposes of today's video, we're going to focus on Plan G, Plan N, Plan K, and Plan L, and we're going to talk both about the regular version of Plan G as well as the high deductible version of Plan G. So as far as new beneficiaries are concerned, Plan G will offer the most comprehensive coverage available. And you'll see here that it is going to cover basically everything except for that Part B deductible, which we've already deducted for purposes of comparing costs. So the question is, will you spend more than that $5,860 in premiums alone? And we're going to take a look at that in just a moment. Now, there are other plans as well. There's Plan N, which is very similar to Plan G, except it's not going to cover those Part B excess charges. Part B excess charges are basically if your doctor accepts original Medicare, they accept the amount that Medicare is willing to pay out, except in the case of Part B excess charges, they can choose to charge up to 15% more. And then there's Plans K and Plan L. Those are cost-sharing plans. So you can see here that they'll cover 50% until you reach your out-of-pocket limit, which for Plan K in 2024 is $7,060, and Plan L is $3,530. So that means right off the bat that Plan K could technically cost you more then $5,860 because the out-of-pocket maximum is already more than that, and that's not even taking into consideration the monthly premiums. However, Plan L might come in under budget. So that means that Plan G, Plan N, and Plan L could save you significantly based on those monthly premiums, which is what we're going to take a look at now. But again, that's only if you're someone whose yearly out-of-pocket expenses exceed $5,860, which of course you just don't know if you are going to be somebody who spends more than average or less than average. On Medicare.gov, you can also see what your prices might be based on your location, your age, your gender, whether or not you use tobacco. So then we're going to scroll down. Again, let's start with Plan G. Okay, so Plan G can range based on the information that I have put in between $85 to $317. Your Plan G might be less expensive or more expensive depending upon the information that you put in. So even with one of the more expensive plans for Plan G, it looks like even if we were charged $317 per month, that would bring our total to $3,804 per the year, which definitely comes in under the number that we're trying to compare to. Again, your Plan G could be more, could be less. Let's scroll down to the high deductible version. Now this is much less expensive, obviously, but let's say even that we picked again one of the most expensive versions of Plan G, the high deductible as is available to us. That's $51 times 12 months a year, that's $612 plus this high deductible because it has the higher deductible, so plus $2,800 still comes in at $3,412. So that means we would still possibly save money as compared to the average. Continue scrolling down. Plan N, let's go for a higher range. So let's say we picked a plan that costs $274. That's $3,288. Even if we did have Part B excess charges, it's pretty safe to say that this plan would save us money as well. Let's scroll up and look at Plan K and Plan L. Now, Plan K, we've sort of counted out because that out-of-pocket maximum is above the average that we're comparing to, because the out-of-pocket maximum would be $7,060. So really, let's look at Plan L. Now, Plan L on the higher end is $137. Times 12, $1,644. And let's say you did reach that out-of-pocket maximum, so $3,530. That brings us to $5,174. So it's close, but you would still come out better with Plan L. But again, that's for the information that I have put in. You might see different prices based on your location, age, gender, etc. And of course, whether or not you have to undergo medical underwriting. Now let's switch gears and talk about Medicare Advantage plans. These are an alternative to original Medicare. They must offer at least the same benefits, but may offer additional benefits to entice beneficiaries. But how do the costs stack up? Comparing Medicare Advantage to that average number that we've been working with is pretty easy. You're going to look at the monthly premium multiplied by 12 and then add that out-of-pocket maximum because Medicare Advantage plans will impose an out-of-pocket maximum. Now, many Medicare Advantage plans won't charge you an additional monthly premium other than your Part B premium. So in the case of this plan, the maximum that you could spend would be $3,600. And basically that's what you're going to see very much is you're going to see that many plans don't charge you an additional monthly premium. So your max would be almost $2,500. Your max would be $3,600, like $3,900, $4,500. So pretty much you would come in under that average. Oh, this plan has a higher out-of-pocket maximum. So it really just depends upon the plan that you choose. Now, that's not to say that Medicare Advantage is the better way to go. Now, Medicare Advantage plans may seem like a great thing, and in some states they are, Florida, for example. But there are pros and cons you should be aware of. So as you've seen, Medicare Advantage plans will offer an out-of-pocket maximum, and that is definitely a major pro. It's not offered by original Medicare alone. Very often, Medicare Advantage plans have low or no monthly premiums as long as you continue to pay for your Part B. Again, that's another advantage. Medicare Advantage plans will have lower deductibles, copays, and coinsurance when compared to original Medicare, at least usually. Also, many Medicare Advantage plans offer additional benefits not offered by original Medicare, things like dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drug coverage. They may also offer additional benefits like transportation, fitness, etc. Now, as far as some of the downsides of Medicare Advantage plans, they really are rather significant. First and foremost, you will need a referral to see a specialist if you choose an HMO. And even if you choose a PPO, there is pre-authorization required with Medicare Advantage plans. That's because these are managed care plans, and that means that even if your doctor prescribes a certain service or treatment, your insurance carrier also has to approve it, which means that you may have to submit a significant amount of paperwork, and it could cause delays or possibly even denials. And then the biggest downside to Medicare Advantage plans is that very often they have restrictive networks. Now, this is not in all places. Florida, Medicare Advantage plans are widely accepted, but in other areas of the country, it can be very difficult to find a specialist who accepts your Medicare Advantage plans. And many people will report that they have to travel significant distances to find someone who is in network.
Now, let's be real. None of us have a crystal ball and can look into the future to determine exactly what our medical spending might be. If you're somebody who's on the healthier side with more limited medical needs, then you might be someone who has very limited medical bills. However, injuries and illnesses can happen to anyone unexpectedly, and you might be someone with more extensive health needs. But ultimately, no one knows. And as I said earlier, despite a tremendous amount of research, it was very difficult to find hard and fast numbers to compare for the purposes of this video. So we recommend working with an expert. Work with a professional financial advisor, and please work with a professional health insurance broker. So what do you think? Would you supplement your original Medicare coverage with a Medigap plan and possibly Part D? Do you think you might switch to Medicare Advantage entirely? Or would you risk it with original Medicare alone? Let us know in the comments below. And of course, if you have questions, you can reach us at the number on the screen or in the comments below. And as I said, we are licensed nationwide and there is no charge for our services. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
If you want to learn more about how you can possibly become a millionaire with HSAs, make sure to check out this video up here. And please don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.